So I usually don't do this before a review. I usually have my grade already set in place before I decide to watch other people's reviews and thoughts on a show or a movie. And one thing when it came to this show, that everybody loved it. I mean, everybody loved this show. I mean, everybody just gave it like the highest of highest praise. And they're not wrong at all. Matter of fact, they're pretty spot on. There's only one thing I noticed nobody talks about this show, and I think it impacts my grade of it. And I'm going to talk about it here in a moment on this episode of Movie Breakdowns Series Review. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdown Series Review. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What Movie Breakdown Series Review was a movie review series, a TV show series, an anime series, where we review each individual season, give them a grade A through F plus or minus as due count, and then give an overall compilation grade A through F plus or minus as due count. And there's a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I'll get to it as best I can. Also, Patreon/Ali Zakka for $2 a month. Get the cut in front of everybody, get your review out way before it comes out on Facebook, way before it comes out on YouTube, and you guys get trade reaction, trade reviews, much more content. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's episode of Arcane for 2021. Now, this does have spoilers in it, so if you haven't seen the show, go watch it, come back. It's only 9 episodes. It's on Netflix, each one ranging from 40 minutes to an hour, but it's worth the watch. So what is Arcane about? Well, it's a lot of things going on here, but the main gist of it, you have two cities, Piltover and Zaun. Piltover is the rich, prospering city, while Zaun is the kind of like run-down, struggling city. They're in a civil war against each other, and then you have two characters, Vi and Powder, who becomes Jinx. These two characters find themselves on opposite sides of this war, and they're trying to find each other, but at the same time other stuff happens where it really makes it a complex storyline between the two characters that you're mostly following. And then you have a few other characters who are like in the council, such as Jace and Caitlyn, who's part of the Piltover enforcement, kind of police force or military. I don't even say military, but more like police for law enforcement. There we go. And she's trying to figure out how to stop the crime lord in the underbelly of Zaun. And there's a lot of stuff going on here, but main gist, you have two sisters, Vi and Jinx, who are struggling with what's going on in these two cities at the same time, trying to find themselves. That's the main gist of it. I did not give it justice, because this show is great. It really great. The first thing you talk about, the first thing you have to notice, and I'm gonna start talking about my likes here. The animation. The animation, at first, when I first seen episode 1, it took me a moment. It's kind of like, whoa, alright. But it worked though, because once you start looking at the artwork and start looking at the design and the details and the colors and the animation, how it does look smooth and it can look rigid at times because of certain scenes and certain pieces. There's certain stuff in this show where I wanted to add as a wallpaper for my computer, my laptop, my cell phone. Matter of fact, there's a scene where you have a character by the name of Echo, and he's fighting against Jinx, and they have a throwback to them like playing like baseball, some form of baseball in this universe, and they're like fighting each other, but then it throws back to their kid days of them playing against each other, and then it cuts back to them like actually like fighting, and Jinx has a gun and she's shooting at Echo, and Echo's kind of like dodging the bullets, but then like as a kid she's playing baseball, she's throwing a like ball at him and he's trying to fight back with a bat, like, or swing at the ball with the bat. It was such a cool moment, and you're like, man, that scene is awesome. Like, it is freaking amazing. But then you also have scenes where, like, for example, Powder, who Jinx as a younger kid, is trying to save her friends and family, and she thinks she's doing such a great job doing this, and it ended up going sideways, and the emotions and the design of that moment, it really hits. And the animation in this show is phenomenal. It is really, really great. Like, it's top tier. tier animation. The character frames, the character design, the way they move, the way they express emotion. Like the company called Forteach Production, which is a French company, they're the ones who produced this. They had Netflix backing and Riot Games, who worked on what the show is based off of, League of Legends. Did a good job bringing these characters to life. Now, I personally never played League of Legends. I had friends who play it and friends I watch play it, and I even follow Magikarp Use Fly on YouTube. Thanks to my friend Steve, who's a huge League of Legends guy. And Magikarp Use Fly used to do what he called actual champion spotlights, and he would break down each character from the League of Legends video game. But I always thought the League of Legends design of characters and the way they look, the drawings looked amazing. But I could never get into the game because it wasn't the kind of game I wanted to play. Like if League of Legends made a Kingdom Hearts style of game or Final Fantasy style of game, I'd be all over that. But they didn't. But this show brings that story and brings those characters to a screen where people can watch it. You don't have to be a League of Legends fan, but you can love Arcane, and the story they tell is so great. So it's not even just the artwork and animation that gets brought into it, but then the story that comes with it. Arcane has one of the best storylines I've seen from any animation and cartoon I've seen in a while. Like, it is so good, and pretty much I would say is original. And you have the certain frameworks for certain backstories, like the two sisters on opposing sides, but then one sister has multiple personality disorder and going through trauma, and she's trying to find a way to suppress her trauma and then it's slipping out, so she has different personalities, and it's kind of like a loose cannon, while the other sister is like just hard-headed and stubborn and doesn't care and doesn't take no for an answer, and finds herself getting in a situation because she just wants to swing left and right. Like, those designs and the dynamics of the sisters trying to come together, and one sister jealousy of her having a relationship with another character really like sprouts over and gets ugly and hot-headed. And these things you might see in other shows, but not the way this show brings it to life. Like, it is done so well. There's 3 parts: part 1, part 2, part 3, and like I said, it's 9 episodes, but each part is broken up in that. So part 1 is 3 episodes, part 2 is 3 episodes, and part 3 is 3 episodes, so it's easy to follow. Part 1 is definitely like the beginning, the origin tale. You have the two, them younger and figuring out what's going on and what kicks everything off, and then you have them as, you know, adults and them trying to come across each other and figure out what's going on as well. And then the conclusion is part 3 of season 1, and them actually coming across each other and the second time, and then trying to figure out where to go from here. Like, it is really, really great story, and that's just the A plot. The thing that I didn't like, I want to know if I want to talk about it now or wait for a moment, because there's other stuff I did love. Like, for example, Imagine Dragons opening for the show, Enemy. The opener is one of the best things I've seen. Like, it is really, really great. I love the stonework of the characters of them. Like, you don't actually see the characters, like statues of them, and freeze framed, but they're moving still because the way the camera angle for the design the drawings makes it look like it's moving, but it's all freeze like poses, but they're all stone and statues, and it's amazing. Every time that opener came on, I watched it every single time. All 9 episodes. I did not skip the opener, not once. Because to me, it was like, if this was made in America, like, this would be an anime. Like, this is legit like how an anime opener would be in America. Like, that's how it reminded me. Like, the way how you watch Yu Yu Hakusho or One Piece or Naruto's opening, Arcane was so similar to those styles of opening. I just freaking love it. And I want to think, is there anything else I want to talk about besides, you know, the animation, the storyline, and the music with this? Because I think the music is all great, but they do, and let's go ahead and get into the things I don't like. So, music. They do use, and this is a pet peeve of mine, but they do use licensed music, and at times it takes you out of the show a little bit because you're like listening, and then all of a sudden you hear like this pop song comes on, which the music I would say is all used to tell the story that's going on. It's not like you know, Thunderstruck just got thrown in there and you're like, why is AC/DC playing in the middle of Arcane? No, it's songs that all express what's going on the screen, so it's pretty much telling a story without actually saying it. It's fine, but it was jarring at certain points. I really kind of wish they just used regular, I don't even have to be orchestra, but like just regular OST for most of the scenes, and just kind of like, I'm a fan of orchestra, violin, piano, so I'm like, throw that in there. That would have been fine. But no, it's cool. It's cool. I wouldn't be offended. It did more like Attack on Titans kind of like orchestra soundtrack. But no, it's cool. It's cool. But that was a pet peeve of mine. And then the other thing I didn't like, the other thing that bothered me was the B plot. Anytime they brought on, I won't say anytime, sometimes when they brought on Jace, who is this councilman, who is a inventor, he's trying to find a way to harness magic for energy and use it to his good. Anytime they brought Jace, Victor, who was his partner, who helped him try to also make magic to use it for good energy, and Mel, who was a councilwoman who kind of like helped support Jace and Victor. Sometime they brought those three characters on, I find myself checking out, and I just couldn't get invested in their storyline. Now, one thing I will say about the storyline is that it all wraps together, it all loops together. So you can't not say watching this that you don't know, you know, what the councilman doing, because you know what the councilman doing. So when Silico, who is a bad guy, who's one of the bad guys of the underworld, one of the head dudes in Zon, when he's trying to get the power that the councilmen have and harness that energy for his own personal gain, you understand what the councilmen are doing and why they don't want Zon to get that power and why they don't want Silico to have that power in his hand. But at the same time, I just find myself not really caring for Victor, Jace's issues, and Mel. Now, the relationship between Mel and Jace, I was okay with that. I was intrigued in that and seeing where that was going. But Victor, I just didn't care about that dude. Matter of fact, I knew he was dying. I didn't feel it until the moment, Victor's on crutches, so he's ill, he's having a hard time walking, he's on crutches, been that way since a kid, and the illness come in later. But they use one of the magic energies he uses to fix his leg. And there was a scene where he was walking for the first time. Now, granted, this is like episode 8, so like you're experiencing his walking with this cane this whole series, and then all of a sudden there's a scene where he's running, and it's such an emotional moment for me. I was watching, I was like, that is a moment done really, really well. Props to that. But any other time, I just didn't care. And that's probably my nitpick on the show, is that I didn't care about the B plot. I literally didn't. But I do like how the B plot did wrap into the whole series. Like, those characters was also integral to Vi and Jinx's situation, because when Jinx was doing stuff to the councilman and like the Piltover, it affected the councilman, and they were trying to figure out how to stop Silicone, who Jinx works for, and Caitlyn wanted to bring Jinx in because of the issue that Jinx was causing. So it all worked together, and Jinx and Silicone wanted the magic orb. I don't know the exact name of it, sorry for not writing it down, but they wanted the magic orbs to use for power and make weapons out of, which eventually Jace does do that, and he does see what the magic could cause, and he's like, we're not doing this. We put an end to this war and make peace. And I'm not going to tell you how season 1 ends, but it does end on a cliffhanger where you're just like, did not see it going that way at all. And I actually like the fact that it did end on a cliffhanger, which means we should get a season 2. Hopefully we get a season 2. And I'm down for it. I am truly down for it, because this was such a great show. And I think the B plot, for me, it didn't work as well. But then somebody else was talking about how the political intrigue and all the political strife and stuff like that going on, they loved it on somebody else's review. And I was like, Okay, I can see that. 'Cause I enjoy Game of Thrones, but when I think of Game of Thrones, I really think about, the political stuff of it. I do think about like people betraying each other. I don't think about the political aspect of Game of Thrones. But somebody threw the political aspect in on this. I was like, okay, for me, it didn't work, but for somebody else, that could work. So I get that. I completely do. Props to that. All right, let's go ahead and get into cast, production, etc. So like I mentioned, Arcane has 9 episodes. Each one ranges from 40 minutes to an hour. It is made by Riot Games, and who made League of Legends, by the way, which is based off of, and also made by Fortiche Productions. And let's go ahead and get into the characters here. Haley Steinfeld, who, by the way, plays Gwen Stacy in Into the Spider-Verse. She plays, is it Caitlyn in Hawkeye? She plays the other Hawkeye character. I don't think it's Caitlyn, but she plays the other Hawkeye character in Hawkeye. She plays a Hawkeye. But she plays Vi, who is Violet. I think Vi was a cool character. She was a character, like I said, strong-headed, hard-headed, doesn't care about like her own safety, want to make sure that she protects everybody else. And she really just want to see her sister again and be with her sister. And she wanted to do her best to protect her family. That's what Violet was about. And I kind of wish we got more of her backstory on what happened when she became an adult. But once she's an adult, we see her going through and trying to find, Silco and take down Silco and bring back Jinx, which is her sister. You have Mai Sinclair Janice, who plays Powder, who's younger Jinx, and then Ella Purnell, who plays Jinx. Now, Jinx reminds me of Harley Quinn so much, and maybe because the energy that Ella Purnell brought to Jinx. Matter of fact, everybody who did the voice acting in this show was phenomenal. It was on point. They gave 110%. I believed the characters when they was like actually screaming and crying. Like, it was done so well when it comes to voice acting. But Jinx, to me, reminded more of a Harley Quinn, the way she talked and the way she acted, and how one moment she was like pouting and kind of crying, but the next moment she was like in your face and almost about to like take your head off, like you couldn't trust her. And she had, like I said, this based off of the trauma she had as a kid when what she believed was Vi leaving her and her friends dying because Powder was trying to save everybody, but ended up going sideways. Her saving actually put everybody else in danger and killed most of her friends and family. She lost it, and Silco takes her underneath his wing and pretty much uses Jinx as a tool to get what he wants. And he tries to say like, I wanted you, you're my daughter, but at the same time he's definitely using her as a tool for his own agenda. And when you have the one villain in this, Silco, who was played by Jason Spacek, Spisak. But Silco is probably the one villain in this show. He is probably the guy who you can be like, that's the main antagonist, that's the main villain. Like, he is bad to his bone. And the one thing you can say, the empathetic side of that, he does care about Jinx from what it seems at certain points, or maybe he's just straight gaslighting her the whole time. Like, everybody else he treats like crap. He doesn't care about them, and then he pretends to care about Jinx, who is emotionally unstable, who mentally not all there, struggling with that trauma, and he's pretty much feeding off of that. But Silco is probably the one villain in this show. You're like, that dude's a pure bad guy. In the first 3 episodes, he is made out to be that bad guy, and then from there, episode 4 through 9, he's kind of like, okay, what is his actual goal here? You actually see what he's going through. He's not a good guy, but at the same time, he's not just pure evil. There's layers to him, like an onion. And then you have Kevin Alejandro, who plays Jace. Jace as a character, I like Jace. Jace was kind-hearted, a dude who wanted to do his best for society, wanted to find a way to bring magic, to make energy off of it. And at one point, he almost about to commit suicide because his stuff gets found out and people was like, you can't use magic, you can't do this. And he found a way to convince the council to like, no, we can do good with this. Let me try this. And with the council backing, he also becomes a councilman himself, and for the most part finds himself working his way into power, whether he was trying to manipulate people or just do it off of his own goodwill. But he finds himself coming to power and finds himself seeing what the dangers of magic can be, which a character named Heimerdinger was trying to tell him that magic is not all good. It could be horrible in the wrong hands. And Jason's like, no, we can do this to make the city better. And he's trying to find a way to end the civil war between Piltover and Zahn. I like Jason as a character. The political intrigue stuff wasn't the best for me, but I enjoyed him as a character. You had Victor, who was a scientist. He also helped Jace out and was injured and came sickly throughout the show and found a way trying to heal himself. That was his point of it. We might get more with him in season 2, but for the most part, it just, he has some parts, but to me, he didn't stand out to me. J.B. Black, who played Vander, I enjoy Vander as a character. Like this episodes 1, 2, and 3 where he is there, he is kind of like, he's the father figure guy who was kind of keeping some sort of balance between Piltover and Zahn. Like he was the middleman between the two cities, and he does meet an end which kind of breaks everything out and just throws into everything out of whack, and Silico gets plugged into his spot. But I like the Vander for the few episodes that we had with him. And by the way, Victor is played by Harry Lloyd. I didn't tell about who Victor was played by, but yeah, J.B. Black plays Vander. There's 3 more characters I want to talk about, and that is Mel, who is played by, I'm sorry I messed your name up, Talks? Olagundoye? Sorry I messed your name up, but she plays Mel, and Mel is a character who, one thing I do like about this show, there's diversity in this show. Whether you're a creature, whether you're a different color, a race, there is diversity in this show. I do give it props for that, but Mel is a woman of power, and she is definitely somebody who finds herself being attracted and finds herself in a relationship with Jace, and she's also trying to get her own agenda of becoming the most powerful in Piltover as well. But there's a connection between her and Jace where like she actually genuinely does care about Jace and not just trying to manipulate him. But her mother comes back into the scene. Her mother's like, you gotta do what you gotta do. You're a wolf, you're not a fox, you need to do both. And try to force Mel to order like take over, or she's gonna take over herself, and she's trying to use Mel as a way to get resources. But Mel, for the most part, seemed like a genuine person who wants to do what's best for the city that she's in as well. She made a name for herself after being exiled. I like Mel's character as well. And then you have Caitlin, who is played by Katie Luing, and Leon. I like Caitlin as a character. She is a character who also kind of like Vi, stubborn in her way, doesn't want to give in, want to find a way to like get her goal accomplished, but she is too clean cut. And Vi is kind of like, because Vi lived in Zahn, she knows how to work the system. She knows how to play the cards and get what she wants and be kind of tact and underhanded, while Caitlin is just pure like clean cut by the book. She's book smart and Vi is street smart. And Caitlin has to learn how to become street smart a little bit to work off of Vi and learn how to find Silco and find the energy that Silco has and take them out. But I like Caitlin as a character, and there's a relationship that gets built between Caitlin and Vi, and it's kind of hinted at it could be romantic. We don't really know, but I am curious to see where that goes in the future. Vi and Caitlin seems like a good team. I do want to see what happens going further with that. And then last but not least, Echo, who played by Reed Shannon. I think Echo's awesome. I love the character of Echo. I think he has a cool design in League of Legends, and then seeing him on on the TV. I've looked at my TV over there, but seeing him on the small screen and seeing him be a cool character, just kick butt, bad dude. I loved it. I loved it. He's a leader of I believe not the Fireflies. He's the leader of a gang that's kind of like freedom fighters almost, and what I assume was freedom fighters. I could be completely wrong with that, but like just good people who try to help out the people struggling in Zion. And he's a cool dude. Like, I don't know what to say. He has one of the coolest moments in the show. He has a hoverboard. Just awesome. Awesome. That's about it when it comes to characters. Any other thoughts? No, the music I think is good. I like everything about the show. I really do. It's such a good show. It's good to great. Like, you definitely should watch it. Definitely invest in it. It's not a kid's show, by the way. There's sex scenes. There is cussing, blood, heads getting chopped off. Like, it is definitely an adult animated show. This artwork is amazing. It is amazing. Yeah, it's great. I don't know what to say about this. I'm raving about the show because I really did enjoy this. But I just found myself not being invested in the B plot. Like the B plot between Jace and Victor and using the energy just didn't do it for me. But everything else, Vi and Jinx storyline, Vi and Caitlyn storyline, Mel and Jace storyline got me. Silicone storyline got me. Like Echo showing up. But we can't take out what Jace and Victor add to the show because you took those out, and when, for example, Echo, Caitlyn, and Vi were trying to go explain to the council, like, hey, this is the information we have. Let's find a way to take out Silicone. So I'm gonna call it Silicone so bad. Silico so bad. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because, like, well, one can't do it because Jinx shows up, and also Silco has his hands on one of the law enforcement's head guys, so that's one reason. But if you didn't show the council when they went to go talk to him, you was like, who are these big wigs in the chair? But because they give the council the whole show and give the council from beginning to end, you get to see what they're coming from, their point of view and their mindset. So if Echo, Caitlyn, and Vi did get to them and explain to what's going on, which they do at one point, you can see where they come from. And I think without that in the show, just I'm going to talk to the councilman, like, well, why do I care about the councilman, what they have to say, besides they just being like antagonists to the characters. So yeah, I really did enjoy this show. Is this a binge-worthy show? Yeah, it's binge-worthy. You can watch every episode back to back and be perfectly fine with it. And grading time. I'm going to grade Arcane for 2021. I'm going to give this show an A-. This show gets an A- for me. I think the one thing I just didn't like the licensed music, but it made sense for why it's there. And then I also didn't like the B plot as much. Like, it's not bad. It's a good B plot. I just find myself not really caring about Jace and Victor right now. But other than that, like, everything else about the show is great. The animation is great. The main storyline is great. The characters, the artwork, the voice acting. It is a solid show. And I think it's paced really well too. It's not slow. Every episode has a beginning, middle, and end. And it really drags you into it and you get invested into the storyline. But anytime Jace and Victor came on screen and they had the little talk about magic and all that stuff, I was like, I can take it or leave it, but it doesn't ruin the show. It is a reason for what they're doing, and everything is there for a reason. So I give Arcane an A-. If you've seen Arcane, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.